Welcome back to another exciting episode of the NVP Show. We got another bunch of topics to get to today in the world of sports, so let's not waste any more time and let's get right down to it. So the first thing we're going to talk about today, Major League Baseball playoffs. As right now we are in the League Championship Series. First off, we have the American League Championship Series. We had Game 1 last night as the Cleveland Indians, who are riding a wave of momentum through the city and through everybody. They were able to take Game 1 of the series at home 2-0 over the Toronto Blue Jays. And it was a very good game throughout most of it. It was a pitcher's duel between Corey Kluber and Marco Estrada, and it was just back and forth, putting up zeros until the bottom half of the sixth inning when Francisco Lindor hit a 2-run shot. So just one mistake cost the Blue Jays the game, and the Indians were able to keep the Blue Jays off the scoreboard, a team that's known for a lot of offense with their guys like Josh Donaldson, Jose Bautista, Troy Tulowitzki, Edwin Encarnacion. They kept them all off the score sheet and were able to come away with a big victory in Game 1. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the game, but from what I saw, like I said, it was a very good pitcher's duel. It was very, very good game. And I was just really impressed with how both pitchers came out and were coming out firing. But going into Game 2, and that is later on today at 4 o'clock, is what you have is this. J.A. Happ is going to be on the mound, 20-game winner for the Blue Jays, probably their number one guy other than Marco Estrada. You have a competition there with the Blue Jays between having Estrada or having Happ as your number one starter. Either one is going to pitch pretty well. And I don't blame Estrada for that loss. He made one mistake. It happens. But the Blue Jays offense put up nothing. They didn't score any runs. And I don't remember the last time the Blue Jays got shut out. That's a little surprising to me. But like I said, going into Game 2, you have it's going to be an interesting game. J.A. Happ, like I said, is on the mound for the Blue Jays. Josh Tomlin is on the mound for the Tribe. And so, again, both these pitchers got a W in their first game. J.A. Happ pitched Game 2 of the American League Division Series, in which the Blue Jays were able to win 5-3 over the Texas Rangers and move on to advance to this League Championship Series. But I think that the Blue Jays are still in good shape. I think that they're going to find a way to get some offense going. And I think that this was a must-win game. This Game 1 for the Indians, it was a must-win. Because if you look at the little success that the rest of the Indians starting pitching staff has had so far, not just in the regular season, but in the postseason a little bit, the Blue Jays have to feel a little bit optimistic to say, hey, we still got a chance here, If we still won here, we got Games 3 and 4 at home, and we got a chance to really take control of this series and get us to where we want to go, and that is reaching the World Series. For the Indians, if they win Game 2, then they did what they were supposed to do. And all they would have to do then is just try to take at least one of the two games in Toronto and force that fifth game back in Cleveland and close out there and advance to the World Series for the first time since 1997. So, obviously, it's a good time to be a Cleveland sports fan. Remember back in the summer of June, the Cavaliers won the NBA championship. Just after they won it, the Indians were rolling. They were just rolling with their consecutive victories, and they looked really good doing it. So, and now they've carried this momentum into the playoffs. They swept the Boston Red Sox aside, and now they're just 3 victories away from advancing back to the World Series. So for all the Cleveland fans out there, I'm sure you guys are very, very excited. But, still got some ways to go here if you want to win the World Series. So we'll see how everything goes. But now let's move on to the National League Championship Series. And Game 1 is tonight between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs. The pitching matchup will be Kenta Maeda versus John Lester. So Lester's going to go for the Cubs, and Maeda's going to go for the Dodgers. Kind of an interesting matchup. Obviously, the Cubs this is the guy that they wanted to go with to start, so they're probably glad that the series didn't go the full 5 against the San Francisco Giants back in the division series. So they're happy that Lester's been able to get a few days rest, and now he's ready to go for Game 1 tonight. Maeda, he's a proven winner. He had some success in the regular season, and I think that the Dodgers feel confident that he can go out there and pitch a good game. And for the Dodgers, speaking of Dodgers, the thing that really is interesting to me, just thinking about the Dodgers, is that they're riding a wave of momentum. They won not 1 but 2 out of 3 games in Washington. Obviously, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they play the Nationals, they're not that good. Well, the Nationals did win Game 3 of the division series and were 1 win away twice from winning that series and playing the Cubs. So, you got to give the Dodgers a lot of credit for not giving up, and a great move by the Dodgers to put in Clayton Kershaw at the end there to get the last 2 outs, and so it's going to be great. And you know what? If the Dodgers could somehow come away with a victory tonight and steal this game, Clayton Kershaw's pitching game too, and that could spark a lot of trouble because if Kershaw's on, and so far in the postseason in his career he hasn't really been on, but if he gets on like he normally is in the regular season, he can really do some damage. I mean, he could really make some noise, and that could spark a lot of trouble for the Cubs. And what are the Cubs riding on? They're not riding on momentum that much. The only momentum they're really riding on is the fact that they were down 5-2 in the 9th inning and were able to come back and win the game. They were down by a few runs. I was thinking, oh, they're going to win this game. I thought, oh, the Giants are going to force a 5th game. No, the Cubs never gave up. They just kept getting hit after hit after hit. It was all about timely hitting there. And they were able to come out and win this game and advance the League Championship Series. So would you consider it luck? Not really. I would consider it they actually just didn't give up. They just kept playing hard and were able to, come out on top and beat them because they knew the Giants knew that if they got to Game 5 that Madison Bumgarner was going to pitch it. And Madison Bumgarner is virtually unstoppable in the postseason. And so I think the Cubs were relieved because who knows what could have happened in Game 5. Who knows? But like I said, the Cubs are probably very relieved that they didn't. But going back to the Cubs, the only thing they're riding on is destiny. And what I mean by that is the fact that, that the Cubs are, they're destined. A lot of people are saying they're destined to win the World Series, and they haven't won one since 1908. That's 108. That's like 108 years ago. I mean, that was a long, long time ago. And look, I think I might be the only one who's saying this, but in some way, I don't want the Cubs to win the World Series. And you might be asking, like, why would you not want the Cubs to win? 108 years, finally the curse can be broken. The reason I say this is because, and I had this argument with a few people a couple days ago, is that 2 years ago the Cubs weren't that good. Nobody was even talking about them. If they had made the playoffs and went on to win the World Series that year, I would have been very happy for them because the curse would have been broken. Last year, not so much. I mean, again, they were praised a lot going into the postseason. They looked like they were going to roll on and go to the World Series. Not only did they lose to the Mets, but they got swept. They looked like they didn't even show up. And they come into this year as the favorites to win the World Series. They come out with the best record in baseball throughout the entire year. They continue to be projected to win the World Series. Then they go into the playoffs. They're predicted to win the World Series. Everybody's talking about how great the Cubs are and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'd rather see the Cubs be the underdog in this series. I mean, really. To me, it's just like, it's kind of crazy in a way because, like, I get frustrated when I see the Cubs doing well. And it's because I would rather, like I said, I would rather see them win the World Series as an underdog. Because then they would have to go through all the things. If you go back to 2004, when the Red Sox broke the 86-year curse of the Bambino, they were down 3-0 to the Yankees, and probably weren't predicted at the beginning of the year to go on and win the World Series. But they never gave up. They got through the hard times. They beat the Yankees in 7. They came all the way back, swept the Cardinals in the World Series, and broke the 86-year curse. To me, the Cubs, what kind of struggles that they had to go through? The only struggle they had to go through was avoiding a Game 5 at home, which I think they probably would have won anyway, even with Madison Bumgarner on. So, like I'm saying, if the Cubs start going through some trouble, like in this series, like let's say they go down 3-1 and they come back, then yeah, I could probably give them a lot of credit. But if they go out and win this series in 5 games, or even if they sweep the Dodgers, again, it's going to be like, they haven't gone, I feel like they haven't gone through enough this season to deserve to really win the World Series, to constantly be the favorite and constantly just blow over everybody that they pass. I mean, to me, that I don't find that exciting. I like more of the teams that have to persevere through a lot of stuff in order to get to the World Series and eventually win it. So I'm saying, it's just you have to I hope that you guys understand how I'm feeling about this, because it's really just it's how it is. Because I know a lot of people that not are Cubs fans, but just they want to see the Cubs have success, and they want to see the Cubs break that curse. Yeah, well, I want to see the Indians break their 50+ year curse. So I mean, it's all the same, but it's just, it happens like that. But we'll have to wait and see. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk some NFL football. We're moving into week 6 now, so we're definitely in the heart of the NFL season, and we're going to talk about a few other topics. So we see you when you get back here. This is the MVP Show.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Sub some sizzle. This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including...
Welcome back here to the MVP Show with your host, Neil Villapiano. So let's continue on with the wild world of sports. Let's talk about the NFL. Right now we're into week 6 of the NFL season, and so far we've had a few surprises, including the Minnesota Vikings, still the only undefeated team left in the NFL. A not big surprise, Tom Brady lighting it up against the Browns last week in his first game back from suspension. A few other things, but let's get to a few specific teams. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles first. Coming off their first loss of the season, a 24-23 loss to the Detroit Lions. It was a very good game, and in a way, it was kind of nice to kind of see Carson Wentz struggle for the first time, and not just because I'm a Giants fan, but also the fact that, as a young quarterback who has had a lot of success already here in the first 4 games of the year, it's just, it's good to see him learn from some mistakes that he made. He threw an interception and was sacked 3 times, and it wasn't the world's greatest start for him. It wasn't the world's greatest game, but, look, he's going to learn from it. And the fact that they only lost by a point probably doesn't give Eagles fans a lot to worry about. The fact they almost still won the game, so they could easily be 4-0 right now. Well, look, Carson Wentz is going to continue to develop and get better and better. So he's just, we have to wait and see how everything goes. It's going to be fun today because the Eagles are taking on the Redskins in Washington, and for Deshaun Jackson, again, the wide receiver for the Washington Redskins, it's just going to be another chance for him to get a revenge game. He's on my fantasy team, but I don't think he's going to have a big day. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's interesting to see how this game's going to go. I think Carson Wentz is ready for it, and I think that he wants to do nothing but get the Eagles that victory this week and get them back on track and get them back into first place in the NFC East. Speaking of some NFC East teams, let's go to the New York Football Giants. And yes, I said the New York Football Giants because the New York Giants of baseball have been gone for quite a long time now. So let's keep it rolling. But anyway, they're going into tomorrow's game against the Baltimore Ravens. I actually am going to get an opportunity to go see the game live, so I'll be there. If you want to follow me on my social media, I'll tell you about that a little later on in the show, so you guys can keep following with that. But anyway, they're coming off that tough loss on Sunday Night Football to the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, 23-16. At the end of the game, the Giants offense finally got it rolling, but they just ran out of time, and it was frustrating because I was watching the game. They finally scored a touchdown. They had a productive drive, and I was mad because I'm like, where was this all game? I mean, really, it was just, I just couldn't get it. I couldn't figure out why in the world was this such, why did it take this long to get it rolling here? It was just crazy, and it aggravated me a lot. But there was one side humor to it, and the humor about it was that when Odell Beckham scored the touchdown, and let me just say, he made a tremendous catch in the back of the end zone. But what he did is that, he scored a touchdown, and after they reviewed it was a touchdown, he ran over and hugged the kicking net where the kicker is, if you remember a couple weeks ago when the Giants lost to the Redskins, Odell Beckham punched the kicking net and it fell on top of him. But this time he goes over and gives it a nice big hug, and it was just, I was laughing, that was the biggest thing that made me smile during the game. But now the Giants, there's not a lot to smile about because now the Giants have lost 3 in a row since their loss. They've been struggling since they lost their game to the Washington Redskins. The Redskins have been going up, they're 3-2. The Giants have been going down, they're 2-3. So you just kind of see it. All it takes is one little thing to make everything go down. But the biggest thing that drives me up the wall is the fact that if you look at the Giants and you think about the amount of money they spent over the offseason to improve their defense, you think about it, and now you think about, they got Sterling Shepard, who, in my opinion, is probably the top rookie receiver in the NFL right now. But you look at it and you say to yourself, why isn't the offense getting rolling? Well, I think the problem is the head coach. I think Ben McAdoo, I just don't think he's good as a head coach. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. He got hired specifically because of that, because of the fact that Eli Manning had his best statistical season. But he just doesn't look like he understands what's going on. And it's kind of frustrating because you look at the defense, they're not that bad. I mean, they forced Aaron Rodgers to throw his first 2 interceptions of the season, but they still struggled on offense. It just looks like they're just not clicking. I don't recall them throwing a single pass to Victor Cruz, because it felt like they were trying so hard to get Odell Beckham in the game. What I'm saying is that you need to spread it out. You need to find plays where you throw the ball to Odell. You need to have plays that you throw the ball to Shepard. You need to have plays that throw the ball to Victor Cruz. You need to get everyone involved. Spread this offense out. Get the ball rolling and get this offense going. I don't care what it takes. I don't care if it's going to be a freak play that gets batted up in the air and it's caught for a touchdown, or they start running the ball more and they start generating offense. They need something to get a spark to get this offense back on track, because if they don't, this is a 5-11 or 6-10 team. Or worse, I don't know. They're at the bottom of the NFC East. If you look at it the first 2 weeks, they were at the top of the league, and they'd gone to 2-0 for the first time since 2009. And a lot of people were pretty excited about it. But now, they're 2-3, and everybody's jumping off ship. So, look, it's only the 6th game of the year, but, the Giants need to get some clicking, or they're going to fall behind in the division and then, trying to make the playoffs. they're going to fall behind very quickly, and it's going to be very hard for them to come back. And the last thing we want to talk about, let's talk about the New York Jets. And so, look, this is kind of the same old if you're a Jets fan, if you understand where I'm going with this. But Jets are coming off that frustrating, horrific loss to the Steelers in Pittsburgh, 31-13. The Jets had the lead for a little while, but nobody really felt like they were going to win the game. And they really didn't look like that good. And I've spoken to some people who think that they need to make a quarterback change. I agree. I just don't agree with the decision that people want to have. They want to have Geno Smith in there. No. If you go back to well back in the offseason, and when I talked about, they were saying Geno Smith is still the future of this team. No, he's not. I already told everybody who the future of that team was. And yes, he's hurt. I get that. But at the same time, you can't rely the rest of, look, I don't even care if you put in Christian Hackenberg at this point. I mean, the Jets are 1-4. They're at the bottom, at the bottom of the AFC East. They're probably worse than probably what people expected. And, Ryan Fitzpatrick's getting max money for practically playing poorly. And it's frustrating. Now Eric Decker's out for the year with that rotator cuff injury. It's going to be a long season for Jets fans. But they're going to play Sunday Night Football against the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. So let's see how everything goes. All right, we're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, the NHL season is finally underway. The regular season's underway. So we'll talk about that. And we'll also go through my weekly college football playoff predictions. So we'll see you when you get back here on the NVP Show.
Sub some sizzle. This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back here to the NVP Show with your host, Neil Villapiano. So let's continue on here with some sports, and let's talk about the NHL. The regular season is finally underway. We're about a game or two in, And, me being a big hockey fan, I'm very excited that hockey's back. It's a little tough right now, obviously, because I'm still watching the baseball playoffs and football's still around. But, in a couple weeks, I'll definitely get used to NHL games being on. I'll get to watch a lot of teams play. And so it should be a lot of fun. We've already had some really interesting and excitement. Austin Matthews, the #1 overall pick this last draft for the Toronto Maple Leafs, scored in his first game in the NHL. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 goals in his first career game. He netted 4 goals, and the Maple Leafs still lost. Let that sink in for a minute there. The Maple Leafs still lost the game, and Austin Matthews, their #1 overall pick, scored 4 times. What do you think that tells you? They lost 5-4 to the Ottawa Senators on Wednesday night. And so it was just amazing. I was like, wow, he scored 4 goals. And then somebody told me, yeah, but they still lost. Then I looked it up and they said, they lost 5-4. Their only offense was one kid. Who, granted, he's played in a professional league in Sweden with guys that were much older than him, so he's probably already feeling comfortable playing in the NHL. But the fact that, that just tells you that the Maple Leafs have a long way to go if they want to continue to develop and become a really good team, a team that can make the playoffs and eventually compete for the Stanley Cup. So yeah, but look, it's only the first game, and nobody goes 82-0. I mean, nobody's come close to that. So, we'll have to wait and see. There's still 80+ games left, so let's not go off handle here, please. So, but anyway, another interesting thing: Connor McDavid. 2 years ago, he was the Oilers' #1 overall pick. He was named the captain of the Edmonton Oilers this year. Obviously, the Oilers are going in a different direction, especially when you saw the move that the Devils made to acquire Taylor Hall from the Oilers in exchange for defenseman Adam Larson. And the Oilers are off to a pretty good start with back-to-back victories against the Calgary Flames. But Connor McDavid's been on fire. He had 2 goals and 1 assist in the first game. And then last night he had a goal and 2 assists. So 3 goals and 3 assists so far for the kid. And he's already looking like he's ready to take on this league in just his sophomore year. But I'm really happy for him. I was very critical of him coming out of juniors and everything. I was saying, look, to me, he doesn't really look. They were saying he's the next Wayne Gretzky, and I'm like, he hasn't shown me enough yet. He had a pretty good rookie season, not a great rookie season, but he had a pretty good one. But he's off to a good start, and I would not be surprised if he came out and continued to have success. And him being named the captain in just his second year in the NHL, that tells you just where the Oilers want to go. They want to continue to be young. They want to continue to develop a fast, physical team that can score a lot of goals, that has solid goaltending. Everything you want in a team that can win the Stanley Cup. So, Oilers fans have to be relatively excited, with this new direction. They're probably not thrilled that Taylor Hall's gone, but look, they have to forget about it and move on. And like I said, 3 goals and 3 assists already. So 6 points for Connor McDavid through the first 2 games. Good for him, but if he doesn't keep it up, it's that sophomore slump that everybody likes to talk about. But no, I mean, it's just good for him. That's all I can say. Good for him. But let's move on to some specific teams. Let's talk about the teams around here. Let's talk about the New York Rangers first. Well, let's talk about the Rangers and Islanders because they played each other. The Rangers came away with a 5-3 victory on opening night of this season. I remember they had a red carpet out in front of Madison Square Garden, and they interviewed all the players. Everybody was getting a big ovation. The biggest ovation I saw that people got was Jimmy Vesey. He was the former Hobie Baker, the last year's Hobie Baker Award winner, which is for best college hockey player in all of the NCAA. And this offseason he didn't want to sign with the Buffalo Sabres, and so it was kind of a debate between, does he want to go to his hometown Bruins, does he want to go to the Rangers, or does he want to go to the Devils? The Devils were a big opportunity, and I heard some rumors that he was on the verge of becoming a New Jersey Devil, and then he decided to join the New York Rangers. And as a Devils fan, I'm not happy about it, but I understand why he did it. He's playing in the biggest market in sports. I'm really serious. I think New York is the biggest sports market in the United States, and I think that, and also the fact that he's even on the NHL roster, I think that he is a big-time guy, and I think Rangers fans are excited because they're getting the best player in college hockey. He chose to sign with the Rangers, and he wants to do the best he can to develop, and so kudos to him. But as a Devils fan, you kind of wish that he had joined them, because when you think about what the Devils offered him, it was a lot of playing time, and I don't know how much playing time he's getting. But I'd have to ask some Rangers fans. I'll have to see. But like I said, they got the 5-3 victory, and what was so crazy though is that the Rangers were up 2-0 going into the third period, and both the Islanders and Rangers combined for an impressive total of 6 goals. The Islanders scored 3 and the Rangers scored 3. It was very impressive to me. It was a lot of scoring. And I'm going to tell a lot of hockey fans this. Don't be shocked if the first 3, 4, 5 games of the year are high scoring, where both teams are scoring 4 or 5 goals, because everybody's still trying to get back into the flow of things. This happens every beginning of every NHL season. Everybody's scoring. This is where a lot of players like to make their mark early on in the season, make their money, as I like to say, and really get off to a fast start. So, yeah, I mean, you saw a very interesting game. And so the Rangers got those all-important first 2 points. The Islanders, they wish that they could have done a little bit better, but hey, what can you do? The Islanders soon will be having their home opener against the Anaheim Ducks, and they'll be facing a few other Western Conference teams, including the defending Western Conference champion San Jose Sharks next week. So that should be fun for Islanders fans. Biggest thing for the Islanders fans that I would say, the acquisition of Andrew Ladd, to sign him was big. Former Winnipeg Jets captain, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Blackhawks and the Carolina Hurricanes. He's a proven leader and he's a proven winner. And I think that's really big for the Islanders, especially if they want to continue to move forward into the playoffs and compete for that Stanley Cup in the Eastern Conference. So kudos to them. And I think that they have a really good shot of not only making the playoffs, but I think they really could make a run at it. If John Tavares can get going and Andrew Ladd and a few other guys, they can really make some hay. It was definitely a loss when they lost Kyle Oposo to the Buffalo Sabres when he decided to sign with them. But, they're going to have to make up for that. And so that's a lot of scoring that's being taken away from the Islanders. But they're hoping by adding some new guys that they're going to get better and they're going to continue to rise up. But there's one criticism I want to make. I still don't like that they play in the Barclays Center. I mean, I really don't like it. I've been to it several times. And some of the view of it, just the way it's up and the fact that it's dark up in the nosebleeds, it just, to me, doesn't work out. And I would really love it. And I heard a rumor from a few sources that the Islanders were planning on building a new stadium, right next to Citi Field, where the old Shea Stadium used to be. I don't know if that's true, and I don't know if that's the right place to put it. In my opinion, I feel like you should rebuild the Coliseum and build either a new stadium or renovate it or do whatever. Because a lot of Long Island fans, they feel like they've lost that connection with their Islanders team because of the fact that now they play in New York City and they play in Brooklyn and they play in an arena that a lot of people don't like. So, I feel bad for Islanders fans. I have a few friends that are Islanders fans, and so, I can feel their pain. So it's very frustrating. But let's move on to the last team, Jersey's team, the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey Devils had their first game of the year. A lot of excitement with a lot of new guys, including, like I said, Taylor Hall. They just signed P.A. Parenteau, who was released by the Islanders a few days ago. They have a few new guys, but they have some guys coming back. As we know, Adam Henrique is back. Devontae Smith-Pelly, Mike Camilleri, Kyle Palmieri. Just all these guys. And to me, so I'm really optimistic and excited about the Devils this year. But, obviously it was a tough game 2 nights ago. They lost in a frustrating manner, 2-1 in overtime to the Florida Panthers. So the Devils were still able to get their first point of the year, but not a win. And they hope to try to change that tonight when they take on the Tampa Bay Lightning at 7 o'clock on MSG, in case you want to watch it. I know I'll definitely be trying to tune in. But, I mean, look, from what I saw from the game, the Devils looked like the same old Devils that, if you're a Devils fan, you know what I'm talking about, where they really look like they struggled scoring. They have great defense, tremendous goaltending, Corey Schneider, but their offense just isn't generating enough, and they were getting outshot and outplayed for a lot of that game. And so they need, I'm not worrying about it that much right now because it's only the first game of the season. You have 81 games left to go. Nobody goes 82-0, and they'll be fine. I feel like that they'll slowly build chemistry, and they're going to start scoring some offense, especially on the power play. If you look at last season, the Devils' power play was tremendous. It was one of the top 5 in the NHL, even though a lot of time they looked like garbage doing it. But they absolutely kicked Mofobo on the power play. They were one of the better teams. I always got excited when they were on the power play because I always had a good feeling they would find a way to score. But, look, like I said, time's going to, we need time to see how this goes because, like I said, nobody goes 82-0, and you gotta let the new guys figure out everything. I just thought it was kind of ironic and funny in a way that P.A. Parento, who was signed 2 days prior to this game, scores the only goal for the Devils. Nobody else. Not Taylor Hall, not Henrique, none of those guys. It was the guy that they just signed 2 days ago that scores the goal. So it was kind of funny, but, what I really like, though, about the Devils this year is the fact that if you look at the amount of young players that they have on the team this year, it's like exciting now because now I don't feel like they're that old. I feel like now they have young guys that will be here for a few years, and it'll be really exciting. So, people were asking me, like, so are you thinking, the Devils, because now they've done a youth change, they're going to automatically go to the Stanley Cup Finals or something? I'm like, no. All I would like to see the Devils do is just make the playoffs. If they don't win the Stanley Cup, will I be disappointed? Absolutely. But I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to say, this should have been our year. Shoot. No. I'm just going to be like, hey, they're rebuilding. It's a rebuilding process. Just making the playoffs, I think, for most Devils fans will be great. But it should be exciting. Next week, the Devils will have their home opener also against the Anaheim Ducks. So the Ducks have the opportunity to play two teams that are having their opening game there. I will be going to the Devils game on the 22nd against the Minnesota Wild. So, again, you can also follow me on social media to see a little bit of what I see during the game. It should be a lot of fun. And just to finish up in the NHL, the last team I want to talk about is the Philadelphia Flyers. They came off their impressive victory in their first game last night against the Los Angeles Kings 4-2. They look good. Again, they're also young. They do have some guys that are veterans like Claude Giroux, Wayne Simmons, Voracek, and they still have their good goaltending in Steve Mason and Michael Neuvirth. So, again, I think the Flyers are a playoff team. I think they're a team that can make it to the second round, maybe even the conference finals if they can push through it. Because last year when they played the Washington Capitals, the fact that they pushed them to the limit, almost the limit, they pushed them, I believe it was 6 games, they pushed them to the limit. It was impressive to me. And I was like, man, the Flyers really looked like they wanted to win that series. And, like I said, they have that former head coach of North Dakota State, probably, at least right now, the best hockey team in college hockey. And, the Flyers like to play fast and very physical, and they like to intimidate you. And a lot of time that really works for them. But, sometimes they do it to a point where it hurts the rest of their team, and it doesn't help them. And it puts them in bad situations. But I still think they're a very, very good team, and they looked good last night. And, for the Los Angeles Kings, did start off 0-2, and you've already lost Jonathan Quick for a while. Might be a long season for the LA Kings, who got bounced in, I believe, 5 games to the Sharks last year. And I was talking to somebody about the Sharks and the Kings rivalry, and they were saying that, you know what? I think the Sharks have the Kings number now. I think the Kings are going down, and the Sharks are going up. I don't know if that's true. It wasn't that long ago that they won the Stanley Cup. It was 2014. It's about 2 years ago. So they still have at the core of their players, Dustin Brown, Andrei Kopitar, Jeff Carter, Drew Doughty, stuff quick. But we'll have to wait and see as the year goes on. All right, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to finish off with my weekly college football. We're going to talk about a few games that happened, and we're going to get some predictions in here, including Rutgers. And, yeah, that should be fun. But we'll see when you get back here on the NVP Show.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as merchant services programs, point-of-sale systems, and ATM machines. TCS, one of the leaders in regional credit card processing consulting, offers electronic payments to merchants locally and nationwide through our preferred vendor programs. We work to keep business costs down with a comprehensive suite of quality products, services, and customized credit card processing programs exclusively tailored for your company. TCS is convenient, reliable, and innovative.
with customer service available 24/7, 365 days a year. Our in-depth industry knowledge, partnership strategy, and innovative processing solutions allow for a specialized approach to providing merchant bank processing with 100% full fee disclosure. TCS is one-stop shopping for all your merchant services solutions. Our clients save money 100% of the time. Trust Tanker Consulting Services, the knowledgeable, professional, and friendly provider of secure payment services. We set the standard by which others are measured. Call now for a free written analysis. 609-922-0201.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Welcome back to the NVP Show here. I'm Neil Villapiano. All right, so we're going to our last topic here. We got a few minutes to go, but it's time for my weekly college football predictions, results, scores, whatever you want to call it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right down to it. So we had 2 interesting games last night. We had Louisville versus Duke, and it was a good game. It was back and forth. You know, Louisville, number 7 team in the country, 2 weeks ago coming off that frustrating loss to Clemson in Clemson, where they were on the verge of actually going down and possibly taking the lead and maybe winning the game. And for Lamar Jackson, remember 2 weeks ago, he seemed to be going off the charts. Excuse me. And he scored 1 measly touchdown last night. And so my question is his Heisman Trophy candidacy, is he dropping? Is he going to drop out now? Because he didn't perform that well, and it didn't look like it. But maybe because of all those touchdowns in the first couple of games, he's going to stay there. And if he can find a way to get back to where he was, we'll have to see. But, you know, if Louisville wants to take a shot at making the ACC championship game, they're really going to have to hope that Clemson loses a game. And that might be very tough. Clemson's victory over Louisville might have given them so much momentum that they might roll over and win it. And that also game put Deshaun Watson back in the Heisman voting, and I'm kind of glad about that because, I was really, I was impressed by watching him play in the national championship game last year, and I think the Clemson Tigers are good enough to go back this year. But let's not talk about Clemson that much. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Louisville. And like I said, they're coming off that, they won 24-14 last night, and it was a good game. It was a back and forth game. I was thinking, geez, Louisville looks like they might lose this game, but no, they hung in there and they won the game. But they might drop a ranking or two just for the sake of only a 10-point victory over a team like Duke, who's lost not just their starter but their backup quarterback. They had to go to their third string last night to get to at least try to get the job done, which unfortunately he could not do for the Blue Devils. But it happens. But yeah, like I said, I don't know what Lamar Jackson's chances of the Heisman are now. I still think even though that loss that he had to Clemson, he made a lot of noise still on a big-time stage like that. And I still think he's in there. But, I'm not the one deciding it, so we'll have to wait and see. And the other big game we want to talk about, BYU. It's a very interesting game. BYU versus Mississippi State. When you first hear that, you think, not that impressive. It's a Mormon school versus mediocre SEC school. Well, it was very fun. 28-21 BYU in double overtime. It was a back and forth matchup. There was some great plays. I saw a tremendous one-handed catch at one point by a BYU receiver. It was on SportsCenter Top 10. I was like, wow, what a catch. But it was just a great game. And, this is why I love college football. You have all this excitement. It goes to double overtime. Fans rush the field, all that stuff. It's just great. It's great for the sport. It's great for college. And that's why I just love watching college football. It's so much fun. And no disrespect to the NFL, but you don't get that type of excitement nowadays in the NFL. But that's what you have college football for. So, again, a great game, and, there should be some exciting games today. And speaking of that, let's get to talk about it. We have about 4 games to get to. So I'll make each of these short and sweet and, kind of wrap up here today. But the first game we'll talk about is number 1 Alabama versus number 9 Tennessee. That's probably one of the top games to talk about. Alabama's continuing to roll. They've been number 1. I think in the top 25, they've been the only team who's not moved because they've just been consistent. They beat everybody they're supposed to beat, and now they're taking on a Tennessee team in Tennessee who's coming off that crazy game against Texas A&M last week. And, look, we got to see it. I believe in the Volunteers. I think that if they could somehow win this game today, they're going to skyrocket into at least the top 4. Because you beat a team like Alabama, it's going to be crazy. But then again, I don't think Alabama will drop out of the top 4 even with this loss. Maybe to 3 or 4, but they'll still be there because of the fact that this is number 19. Unless they get blown out, then I would consider dropping them out of at least the top 4. But, Alabama has this situation again. Not really sure who their quarterback is. Doesn't matter. They're still rolling. And so, the Alabama Crimson Tide are continuing to roll over everybody and kick Mofobo. So it should be interesting. But the Tennessee Volunteers, number 9 in the country, Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs, the quarterback of Tennessee, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in college football. And I know Chad Kelly said he's the best quarterback in the SEC. No, I don't think so. I think Josh Dobbs is. I think he straight up is. I think he's tremendous. And I think that he could be a really good prospect in the NFL. So, but I think this should be a good game. And I'm going to go with, I think Alabama's going to win, though. I think they're going to win 35-21. And even though it's in Tennessee, but I think it should be a good game. I think it should be back and forth. But I think eventually Alabama's going to take over, especially with their great defense, and close out this game and win. But it should be a good game, and definitely you college football fans out there should take a chance to watch this game. Next game I want to talk about, and this is the one that College Football Game Day right now on ESPN is on. So if you want to watch Game Day, check out ESPN. They're there right now. Number 2 Ohio State taking on number 8 Wisconsin in Wisconsin. So again, another top 10 matchup could determine. This could possibly be not the first time these two teams meet. This could possibly be the preview for the Big Ten championship game this year. Wisconsin Badgers, they've ride a lot of momentum. They came up short against Michigan in Ann Arbor. They almost won. But they beat Michigan State in Michigan State. And I think they have a good shot of winning against Ohio State. But I just think JT Barrett is too good. I think he's also another underrated guy who's right now in the Heisman race and should be considered a possible person to win it. And so, yeah, this is another one of these back and forth offenses. And I think that this is just going to be a really fun game to watch. This is probably one of the games I really am going to watch on TV tonight because it just should be really fun. It's in Wisconsin, and I think Wisconsin's going to ride a wave of momentum, and they're just going to roll. And I think even if Wisconsin doesn't win this game, they shouldn't be dropped that far because of it. And I think if Ohio State loses, they shouldn't be dropped that far. I mean, they're playing in Wisconsin. What do you want? But I'm going to go with Ohio State takes this one 28-24. I think there's going to be offense, there's going to be defense, it's going to be a mix of both, and you're going to have a shootout. Another shootout, in my opinion. Next game. And this is like one of the most underrated games. Like, you go back 4 weeks ago, like the beginning of the year, this was marked as one of the top games of the year. Now it's like ho-hum in a shocking way. Stanford versus Notre Dame in South Bend. Stanford and Notre Dame unranked. Both these teams were in the top 10 to begin the season. And now they're both in the top, well, now they're like in the top 50 because they've been struggling so much. And they're both having a very mediocre season. Notre Dame just came off that loss to Duke, I believe, and then Wake Forest, and it was just they've just been dropping and dropping and dropping, and it's kind of crazy to see how much they've been struggling. But yeah, I mean, in Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if he's still in the Heisman race for the Stanford Cardinal, but if he wants to even make a sniff now of doing it, he really has to get on the ball. They just got blown out last week, 42-17 at home to Washington State. Washington State, people. Not Washington, Washington State. So it's just crazy. And unless McCaffrey can keep it rolling, his chance of winning a Heisman are going down the drain. And I think pretty much Stanford's chances of even making the Pac-12 championship game might have been down the drain with that loss to Washington State. But I think this should be a good game. I think it's low score. I'm going to go 17-14 Stanford in overtime. And I said overtime. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And so it should be a good game to watch. But the last game I want to talk about is Rutgers. And I'll make this quick. I don't know how you come back from losing 78-0 to Michigan. And then you lost 2 weeks ago to Ohio State in Ohio State 58-0. Jim Harbaugh purposely made his top New Jersey players like Jabril Peppers just light it up against Rutgers, and they didn't let up. And what was most embarrassing to me as a Rutgers fan is the Rutgers had a total of 6 total yards in the first half of that game. And it took them until 9 minutes to go in the game to get their first down. They had 2 first downs all game. Didn't come close to scoring any points whatsoever. And I was talking to somebody, and he said, this is a game that all the coaches should be fired, and they have to clean house. Because this is an absolute embarrassment to not only Rutgers University, but to the state of New Jersey in the sports world, saying, see, New Jersey's nothing. They got nothing. And all the top New Jersey players are just going to leave here, go to other big-time schools like Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama. They won't want to play for Rutgers because Rutgers is not that good. They play Illinois today, and Illinois has been struggling. But I don't know at this point anymore if Rutgers has a shot at winning this game or not. I can't give you a prediction because I just don't know. I don't know what their offense is going to do today. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping that it goes well and they win the game, but if they don't, it'll just continue to be embarrassing for me as a Rutgers fan and being a fan of Rutgers University. It's just, it took the fight out of me almost, really. Like, it really did. That game almost took the fight out of me, and it was just, ugh. But I'm really hoping that this just gets better, and, you know, only time will tell, but I'm really hoping that in the future, Rutgers can one day stand with all these other Big Ten teams and really, you know, make a name for themselves and show that New Jersey is the place to be. But we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, that's going to do it. That's going to do it here today for the NVP Show. And I want to thank you, as always, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for your support of this show. It means a lot to me. I love talking sports with you guys. And if you want to keep up to date with sports, not just here on the MVP Show, but on social media, you can follow me on Twitter at NeelyV17. That's Neily, capital V, 17. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's NVPQB11. And if you also want to follow me on Snapchat, it's also NVPQB11. And you can follow me on social media for all your sports needs, especially on Twitter. And again, thank you all so much. But I want you guys to stick around because right after I'm done here, you have Heath and Aaron of the Philly Sports Guys. They're going to be talking some NFL football, a little college football, and their quick hits and all that stuff. And it's going to be a great show. But like I said, thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time on the MVP Show. So have a great day out there for all you NVPs. This is Neil Vilpiano signing off.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient.